Absolutely. The upstart Eagles bring in a MAC leading defense to try to slow down a very powerful and a very balanced Ohio attack. The question is, will Cinderella finish her run, or will Ohio do what it's done, which is win 26? Always been a lot of great mascots with high school sports. The Truckers are no exception. But until 1946, they were actually the Raiders. And then Norwalk Trucking came in. John Ernsthausen offered the school football team to buy anything that they wanted as long as they would change their name to the Truckers. Well, as you can imagine, the vote was unanimous, and there we have it. They are now the Truckers of Norwalk High School. Back to you guys.
Love it.
And Coach Arenz was very, very calm when he talked about the youth of his team. And, he did some things tonight. He benched his setter and made a change, and it really made a positive change in what they were doing on the floor. So we'll see if he sticks with that lineup. That's kind of the burning question for Akron right now. Does he stick with the lineup that made them competitive, or does he go back to who has been his starting setter?
All right, stick with us. We'll be
with Michelle Mimna as she has Steve Gray of Norwalk.
Coach, your stars definitely came to shine in this first half, but what else do you see specifically that helped you to this double?
Alongside Michelle Mimna, this is Todd Bell for the final game of the day, and how excited are we? Ms. Basketball is right here on center stage. Kelsey Mitchell for Princeton taking on Hoover here tonight. This should be a fantastic matchup.
Absolutely, and this is the floor where she and her sister are both going to play their college careers, so it's something special for them. But we have two teams, both have a Coach of the Year. They can both run, score, defend. They both rarely lose. So tonight, what gives? It's going to be quite a treat, I think, for basketball fans.
Sit back and enjoy. It should be a lot.
And you guys had a very entertaining press conference after the semis. Your guys seem like a great group of guys. And they told a story about walking in BW3 one night, and it kind of has defined a little bit of this unconventional lineup. Can you tell us that story real quick? Hi guys, hey, both Coach Kill and Coach Kwasniak expected their teams to be here today. In fact, not hoped, expected. When they saw each other at the state basketball clinic, they made it a date to get together on this day. LCC has gotten here with a Columbus or bust motto, and Coach Kwasniak and his team are trying to win a championship in each of the 4 divisions. My question is, does LCC take home the big prize, or does St. Joe have the better date story? Guys?
Lead. Coach Kill standing by with Michelle Mimna.
Okay, Coach, you have a decided size disadvantage. How in the world are you able to go into halftime with this lead?
25, Michelle Mimna stopping head coach Babe Kwasniak before the second half of this one.
Coach, your bigs have taken advantage like you kind of thought they would, but what are your other concerns coming out of the first half?
Their guards are really good. They're really good. I feel like we're playing against Scooney Penn and Earl Boykins. So they're really good. We got to do a better job.
Okay, and they're shooting 61% from the field and 57% from three-point. What's your strategy regarding that?
We got to stop them. We got to have pride and have to get some stops.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, and in their locker room, they've got to decide what are they going to do defensively. They've done both man and zone, and they got to figure out which one they think is going to slow down Mitchell the most.
All right, halftime right now. Princeton is
to none. It's not a great place to be.
Unfortunately, Akron is finding itself just behind the 8 ball, unable to establish anything consistently. They've had their moments. They've had 2 great timeouts where they've come out and scored 3 and 4 points. And then it goes on a run again for Western Michigan. So it's that unevenness that I'm sure Coach Arenz is frustrated with, and I'm sure that's what they're addressing in the locker room right now.
Started the match that they needed this to recover kind of as a team, and they have a big weekend ahead too.
Absolutely, and they did well. I mean, their standout tonight was Ave Stout. 8 kills, 0 errors, 15 attempts, and in the volleyball world, that means that's pretty significant. She hit .533, and that's like a batting average, so that was unbelievable tonight for her with 5 blocks as well. She was part of the reason that Western Michigan dominated.
Right.
And Akron, and I'm sure Akron doesn't like to hear that, but it was really until the last part of the match in set 3, it was really kind of an uneven performance by Akron.
Yeah, and
when you look at stats and you see a 0 in the errors column, I need to ask you, what do you feel like was the reason tonight that you were able to be, not necessarily perfect 16 for 16, but 9 kills and no errors? Yeah, we felt, as watching this match as a coach myself, I felt like you guys were really just the stronger team physically. Mm-hmm. And we just talked to Ave, and she said, as a freshman, that was your goal was to pack a little muscle on her.
Yeah.
but we felt like your outsides, I mean, that you were just physically the stronger team.
Well,
yeah,
we
in fact, the Zips kind of bookended the match playing pretty well in the first and third sets. It's the second one that really got away from them. In fact, we were just talking to Colleen Munson, Western Michigan's coach, and she said she wasn't pleased with how her team came back out of the intermission. Akron kind of established that they were here to fight, and so that's one thing she'll probably address with her team, but she's got to be happy with what is basically a dominating win over Akron tonight.
They were tied 10.
Jeremy Best to Convoy Crestview. Michelle.
Coach, a strong start, but you had to withstand a really nice run from them at the end. What do you do to extend your lead in the second half? Okay, Coach, so a little bit of a slow start, okay, for you guys, but then evened it up. A little bit of a push from UA at the end. What do you need to do to get into your rhythm?
Away, Michelle.
Well, we're here with Ben Haraway. Ben, congratulations on being a part of the first ever state championship for Norwalk High School. You were practically unguardable today. Can you talk to me about your offensive mindset coming into this game? Yeah, thanks, guys. Jeff, a lot of people don't realize the positive financial impact of the OHSAA on its member schools. Can you just give us an idea of the benefits for our member schools?
Absolutely.
Norwalk, Steve Gray. Michelle.
Coach, congratulations on making history, first of all. How did you withstand their late run? They got within 5 twice. And your team a lot smaller. They're very tough. I get the sense that they get that from you. What are practices like to build that kind of toughness?
Oh, hard nose.
But we were in that huddle, and you guys executed that to perfection. And Coach Flannery expects that out of you. After you hit it, what'd you feel like?
They're running high right now.
Well, you had 18 points today. You had a great game. Was it part of your team's philosophy to attack their smaller lineup?
And we welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Michelle Mimna. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, guys. Hey, some of you might notice that the St. Ed's players in warm-ups were wearing T-shirts that said, "Eagles soar for Big Mighty." And Coach Flannery shared with us yesterday, it's in support of a young man that they feel very dearly about. Third grader Mike Orbany, the brother of team manager Matt Orbany, is fighting cancer for a second time. Mike is courageous and inspirational young man, huge fan of St. Ed's basketball. And in addition to show support with the T-shirts, many of the players and coaches shaved their heads in support of Big Mike. Mike's Facebook page, Miracles for Michael, shared this message: "Go get 'em, Eagles. Fly high one more game for state champions."
Western Michigan is kind of famous for bringing in really athletic kids and training them, and she was a dominant in the tournament last year, and she obviously is doing really well in the conference in hitting percentage and kills, 7th in kills in the conference. And you'll see as a middle, she's a blocker, she's a hitter, she's got a great hitting percentage, so I expect her to be someone they try to get the ball to tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, we spoke briefly about the absence of Stephanie Yancey tonight, and while there weren't a lot of details given, we were told that she'll be back, and you would have to think that would give Western Michigan a nice lift as they head into what's basically the last 25% of their season.
What will be some of the keys to the game tonight? And if you're the Golden Flashes, you're coming in with a lot of confidence. Okay, they had a great upset win over OU in early October, and it's certainly something that's on both teams' minds tonight. For OU, they need to play like OU. They are 22-4. They've been ranked this season in the AVCA Top 25, and if they don't stray from what they've done all season, tonight's going to be a 23rd victory for them. Short has been hitting a blistering offensive 450 through this weekend, and she's just on fire. Ohio knows that they have to stop her to have success. And on the other hand, Abby Gilliland, Player of the Year and Setter of the Year in the conference, doesn't happen very often. She will run an offense that will be impressive on every level.
Coming, you see, Coach.
The Eagles really have to take care of the little things. They need to cover well and work really hard in transition, and they know they're going to have to move around Ohio's size, all right, if they want to make sure they succeed against that block. For Ohio, spread the love. This offense is so incredibly balanced. They can score in every rotation, and they also have to make sure that Erin Short does not have the type of quarterfinal and semifinals she had. And if they can do that, then they will succeed in winning another MAC championship. Coach Tice says that revenge isn't really a big factor, but they do remember being ranked at the time of that loss, and that's a pretty special thing for a volleyball team. So they are ready to go, and they're glad they're at home tonight.
Yeah, it should be a great matchup. Let's take a look at the stars we're going to be watching tonight. For Kent State, it's their great setter, Alexandra Nowak.
Yes, and the product from Poland is someone that Coach Grimala describes as incredibly competitive. Even when they run camp, it's her team that has to win.
Just put the ball away. Western Michigan's having a lot of success with that 1-foot takeoff, that slide. As you can see, the block from the Zips is not closed, and that's going to be something Western Michigan's going to want to exploit. It was a great, Delich really managed that set. That was fast. I hear her calling a J. It must be a specialty set, and she chased that beyond the antenna, so she did a great job using her sprinting speed to make sure the Zips scored on that long rally. If you don't succeed at first, try and try again, and she is certainly, I'm assuming, taking some instruction there by her coach. And on her about 5th attempt to dump the ball, she does score.
You know, it's funny watching the Bobcats outside hitters. There's so many misperceptions that college volleyball players, the hitters, have to hit straight down. That's a kill that she's aiming for the back line. She sees how shallow that libero is, and it's all over. And it's the first thing you look at when you're looking at stats, 414 as opposed to 172. And we talked throughout the first set about the unforced errors. But another thing that stands out for me, OU has gotten 13 swings by its middles and right sides, only to 6 for Kent State. So OU doing a better job of establishing a much harder to defend attack. And again, that's why it was 25-15. Again, Engelman doing a nice job right now of taking on the load of her team offensively. But it's not going to be easy because the Bobcats are going to continue to trap block her. They're just going to release on their middle responsibilities. It's going to be tough for Engelman to do that all night.
That's her 4th kill. Crushed by Alexis Pinson.
Wow, that might be one of the more impressive attacks that I've seen this college volleyball season. Just the timing, the fact that Gilliland had to go up and do something different with that ball, that was big time, 8-foot line.
Over to Michelle Mimna.
Again, a very intense huddle on St. Ed's bench. Coach Flannery imploring them to keep trapping defensively. Told them who not to foul and told them to not panic, that there's actually plenty of time left for them to win this game.
Thanks, Michelle. Dave, a chance to check into the Upper Arlington huddle. Michelle?
Yeah, coach is drawing up plays, trying to talk to them about, is this too big for us? Challenging their toughness, and they're going to try to run their famous backdoor play here. Let's see if it works for them.
They did it so many times last night against Trotwood Madison.
Got it. It got it. It worked.
He's open. Hummer in the clear. Hummer to the basket.
It worked.
Send it over to Michelle Mimna.
Yeah, St. Ed's setting up what looks to be a pretty fancy screenplay here, and they understand they need to shoot a 3 and make it. Let's go. Let's see what they got.
Hamilton off the inbound. Funderburg back to Hamilton. He rises and delivers.
Oh!
He got it!
Well, and UA wants to slow it down, and you guys want to run. All right, and there was a little bit of a balance of that tonight, but ultimately you guys were able to impose your will. What did you guys do, the one thing that was a key to this win?
Defense. With more on the point guard for UA, Danny Hummer.
Yeah, great story here. UA's Danny Hummer's playing in his last high school game today, but after undergoing double hip surgery back in the spring, his recovery was 6 to 7 months. He didn't touch a basketball. And while Coach Casey joked that Danny got a little doughy during his time off, he's back healthy. He's significantly impacting his team's success in the semis today. And it's just a great recovery story for a young man that Coach Casey feels so highly about. And again, just a little bit of a miscommunication there between Gilliland and her middle. I think that was Pinson trying to hit the B set. Again, a nice break for the Eagles, that call of 4 contacts.
Here it does.
I'll tell you, she is someone who will score on you. She will give you so many assists. She's so well-rounded, so quick. Coach Tice just says she makes other teams wonder what in the world they have to do to cover her.
Hard to believe, just a sophomore.
He calls her a rare talent, someone who runs this offense so well at such a young age.
Got it off the block of Robach.
She's going to be tough to handle. That's her 3rd kill already this set. And again, the height advantage, and she's listed as 6'3", but you and I have agreed that we feel like she probably has an inch higher than that. But she's just going to be tough
to control.
Coach, but what can they do?
You know, Coach Barrington said that if they continue to do the little things, if they blocked well, if they covered their own attackers, they felt like they could hang with Ohio, but they know they cannot run their offense straight ahead because they don't have anybody who can compete with Ohio's size. You know, obviously she's talking some things over now with her assistants, but I don't even feel like they've gotten their offense set up like they could. Short hasn't really gotten a hold of a ball yet in this set, and they need her to have matches like her quarterfinal and semifinal in order to compete in this set.
Take a look at once again, 21-14, now Gilliland to serve.
A little trickeration there. I mean, Gilliland is so quick. 1 second, she looks like she's absolutely going to set the middle, and with the flick of her wrist, it's on the floor on the other side. Very, very quick hands, which is exactly what you want in a setter. Paige Roback is going to have a tough time with that matchup, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see Barrington rotate her lineup so Parinar's matched up. Parinar's a bigger block up against Cooler Khan, and we'll see if she makes that adjustment in the second set. Here, she's a McDonald's All-American, Ohio's Miss Basketball, Player of the Year, human highlight reel, as we saw last night. Just a phenomenal player on all ends of the court. Semis, 23 points and 6 assists. And she dropped 50 in a regional semifinal, so she's capable of doing just about anything she needs to do.
See, they come from 3 coming up. Let's take a look at what Julie Worley was able to do down low.
Yeah, she backs Pogue in really well, uses that left hand, so Pogue is unable to block her. Nice play.
It's all for one, one for all.
Yeah, Hoover, we wanted them to steal the show, and they've got 8 points off turnovers, but they only have 1 steal, so they do need to do a better job there. Their transition speed has been okay. They've pushed the tempo, but not as much as they would like. Now Princeton, two players adding up with 26 points, and Kelsey Mitchell and Pogue, drive and dish. You know, again, it's been Kelsey Mitchell for the most part. So, you know, we're going to see how these evolve here in the second half. We talked about the kind of highlights that were going to be made in this game. She is fired up. She's thrilled. She stopped and then went again once the defense flew by her, kept control of the ball. She's a lefty, so that was her strong side. Great move. And he has over 424 wins with St. Ursula in Toledo, and you're right, they expect to win, and he does that with the help of Marissa Leonard, their libero. She had 23 digs in their 3-set win in the semis, and again, she's looking to be a big influence today on the game.
Mount Notre Dame.
Absolutely, we have middle blockers, Danny Shapansky and Sarah Priest, DS, Holly Lunkin, Jessica Toll, who runs the offense, Chandler, who is the star of this team, Sydney Mukes, a young, powerful outside, and Margot Wolf, who's following the footsteps of her sister, now playing at UK.
Let's take a look at the tournament trail for Mount Notre Dame and how they got here.
And again, at the beginning, 2 3-0 matches. They ran into a 3-2 match against Cincinnati Ursuline, and then relatively easily took care of Hudson in the state semifinal.
Now our Time Warner starting lineup for St. Ursula.
Again, Madeline McCabe doing the setting duties. Ryan Cox playing defense. Middle blockers, Lauren Graves and Lauren Daudelin. And outside, Emily Leidy, Morgan Finn on the right, and Marissa Leonard, who is one of our stars to watch as their libero.
Lethal from that side.
And she has scored twice now with Graves in the back row. Graves rotates in and serves and then comes out. And certainly, Mount Notre Dame's trying to get Chandler to hit the ball in Graves' area. Absolutely celebrating the fact that she left her base early because she knew that Chandler was going to get the ball. That was a beautifully set block by Graves.
To the block, Graves will serve.
Coming down the stretch here.
Well, I'll tell you, for Western Michigan, they need to stop Angelos. All right, and they also offensively, they need to get Stout involved again because when she's been involved, she has scored and blocked for them. For Northern Illinois, keep Angelos involved. Yeah, and again, and no coach likes to use both of their timeouts by the 10th point being scored. But there is a point, I guess pun intended, where you understand that you've got to stop the momentum. You've got to try to do something. Again, the freshmen doing work tonight for Northern Illinois and Western. The young kids are showing us how the game is played. A lot of hustle here to keep the ball alive by Northern Illinois, and that one actually paid off for them. Work, yeah, great work in transition by Northern Illinois. Digging by the setter, Gonzalez. Kelly had to transition 3 times from being a blocker to a hitter. Northern Illinois is working hard and still finds themselves down by 1 point.
Stout puts it down to the floor. There she goes.
That block jumped up with Pollock, thinking because she had dumped twice before that she was going to do it again. Stout had absolutely no block on that swing.
Angelos.
And I think Angelos exited. I think we've got our other middle in, so we're going to have to see what who they go to now. If it's Roddy in the front row, we certainly know where the ball is going to go at that point. But at this point, they want to pass. They're not happy that they let a ball drop to put Western Michigan at set point. They don't want to go down 0-1 here on this Halloween night in DeKalb.
And they've come dressed for Halloween. I'm impressed.
Yes, we have the Hulk, which we lovingly got a photo with the Hulk today.
Yes.
We've got bananas and blondes and monsters of all sorts in the stands tonight. SpongeBob SquarePants has made an appearance.
Impressive. It looked like a hot costume.
You know, looking at the stats, it's a really evenly played match. You've got 2 players, one a setter in Pollock with 6 kills and 0 errors, batting 1,000. And then for Northern Illinois, you've got Sarah Angelo, 7 kills, no errors, hitting 700. It was a late surge by Western Michigan and 2 late mental errors by Northern Illinois. I mean, you can't get much closer in the score. We knew this was going to be a battle, and I think Northern Illinois has to kind of say, hey, we're not going to beat ourselves tonight.
Point.
That is beautiful transition volleyball. A really high pass. Wouldn't expect them to go right back to the middle, and Angelo says, I'm here. That was a great play.
Coming down the stretch here.
Well, I'll tell you, for Western Michigan, they need to stop Angelos. All right, and they also offensively, they need to get Stout involved again, because when she's been involved, she has scored and blocked for them. For Northern Illinois, keep Angelos involved, all right, and stop with the mental errors. You know, pretty even in terms of the stats as you look at them, attack percentage especially, but I would expect this maybe to go 5, and we might be here for a while. Look back and you see that little bit of a tinker with that lineup for Coach Gooden, and it looked to do what he intended it to do, was just shake things up a little bit defensively for his team. Yeah, and again, and no coach likes to use both of their timeouts by the 10th point being scored, but there is a point, I guess pun intended, where you understand that you've got to stop the momentum. You've got to try to do something to stop that. 11 senior outside, the All-Ohio first team. 366 kills on the season. Broke a record for 36 kills in a match. Quite a player.
District 8 Player of the Year.
Mesher again, the 6-foot sophomore. Adding on to the reasons that Mark Royer needs to take an early timeout against Marion Local here in the second set.
DASJ not helping themselves at this point.
No, here we've got, take a look at a communication error. We've got balls being hit long by a foot or 2. A couple of ball handling errors. So right now it's been a rough start for the Vikings, but again, team that's won 23 matches this season, kind of come out of this timeout and get themselves together. All they need is a good run, even just a point here scored in aggressive fashion, and it'll give them the confidence. 5-0 is very early in a set. They've got more than enough time to answer what has been kind of a sloppy start today. And again, Winner proving to be incredibly hard for the Vikings to handle. She's got her 6th kill of the day.
Warriors got to call another timeout. There's just no way around it.
Earlier than when he wanted. He's got him sitting now on the bench, not circled up. I'm sure having a very serious conversation about playing the way that they played all year to get to this point in the tournament. Because right now they look very overmatched by a very good Marion Local team.
Big East basketball.
Take a look at that last point. Again, Kramer, nice dig by Timko. Set up for Hicks, and just unable to handle her are the Flyers blockers. And Coach Royer's animated right now. He understands that they're playing better, still playing catch up. Hicks has had 3 quick kills here in the 3rd set, and she needs more. so that they can get back in this match.
Royer, a ball that.
And again, just looking at her, she's an outside hitter who is dominant. She was dominant in a semifinal, 17 kills, 12 kills here today. Did a great job in terms of being a blocker as well. Hit well over 200, and again, just someone with that big arm swing, tough to stop, and the Vikings did. They had a tough time with her today.
Really?
Third member of our team, Michelle Mimna. Michelle?
Yeah, that was a pretty intense huddle, actually. Coach Kwasniak telling them to relax, put a body on the boards. They should not be giving up offensive boards to LCC. And the message is one possession at a time. There's a lot of time left in this game, so relax and play every possession. Okay, back to you guys.
Let's send it over to Michelle Mimna.
Yeah, actually, Simpson was getting a little attention, getting stretched out a little bit, but the key out of that huddle was stay focused, keep your attention on not letting Parker take over this game, and get back on the boards like they were doing in the first half, guys.
Simpson at the line, LCC just 5. Michelle Mimna. Michelle?
I'll tell you what, Coach Kill is one intense man. He said, someone on this team make a charge on Parker, do it for this team, because Parker's the one they have not been able to stop. He said, hey, we have 8 minutes left before we cut down nets. Let's get it done.
And as we mentioned,